Good morning, my dear students. Now we will complete the second record of Unit 3 Genetics. Now we wanted to know Mendel's assumptions to explain results of his experiments. What are the results of his experiment? Number one, the hereditary traits depend on the hereditary factors or genes. What's meant by hereditary traits? We said before, hereditary traits like the color of the seed, the form of the seed, the flower, the color of flower of pea plant, and so on. Okay? Any hereditary trait depend on two factors or two genes, which transmitted from parents to their offspring by gametes. Okay? Again, any hereditary traits depend on two factors or two genes to transfer from parent to offspring. Okay? Each hereditary trait is controlled by two factors, one factor from father, and the other factor from mother. Okay? Number three, when gametes are formed by meiosis division, these two factors or these two genes separate where each male or female gamete carry one factor. Female gamete carry one factor, male gamete carry the other factor. Okay? Again, what are Mendel's assumptions to explain the results of his experiments? He said that the hereditary traits in hereditary trait depend on two factors to appear or to transmit from parent to offspring. Two factors or two genes. Each hereditary trait controlled by two factors, one from the father and the other one from the mother. Okay? At fertilization, to remember that it is a process that happens after pollination. After pollination, it is a process called fertilization in the plant. At fertilization, the two factors copulate, the two genes or two factors copulate, where if the two factors are different, heterozygous, different, the trait will be impure and the individual is hybrid. Again, if the two factors copulate where they are different, heterozygous, the trait will be impure. We call it, the individual in this case, hybrid. Okay? But if the two factors are similar, the two factors which carry the hereditary trait, if the two factors are similar, homozygous, the trait will be pure. The trait will be pure and the individual will be pure. We have two types of factors, two cases. If the two factors or two genes different, the individual called hybrid. If the two factors or two genes are similar, the individual will be pure. Okay? So, we wanted to know the difference between hybrid individual and pure individual. In hybrid individual, it is the individual that carries different pair of genes. One is dominant and the other is recessive. Again, hybrid individuals, it is the individual that carries different pair of genes. One is dominant and the other is recessive. Pure individuals, it is the individual that carries a similar pair of genes, either dominant or recessive. And we will see that through the problem now. Note that dominant gene prevents the appearance of the effect of the other gene. The recessive trait is always pure. We will see it now. After we solve the problem, now we wanted to know the first law of Mendel, Mendel's first law, which called Law of Segregation of Factors. Law of Segregation of Factors. Segregation means separation of factors. When two individuals, father and mother, when two individuals of any pair of hereditary traits, like the color of seed, the color of flower of the plant, okay? One pair of hereditary traits are different from each other, like purple flower and white flower. Two different. Only the dominant trait appears in the first generation. The dominant trait appears in the first generation, while the two traits appear in the second generation in a ratio of 3 dominant, 1 recessive. 3 dominant, 1 recessive. As we see from this example, if two individuals of any pair of hereditary traits, now the hereditary trait, the color of flower, purple flower and white flower, it's one pair of hereditary traits. The parent, one parent have purple flower and the other parent have white flowers. The first generation, F1, represented by F1, the first generation, all the first generation have purple flowers and there is no white flower. Okay? In this case, the purple flower is called dominant trait, which is appear with ratio 100% in the first generation. While in the second generation, if we made a cross-pollination between two from first generation, the second generation will be 3 purple flowers and 1 white flower. 3 purple flowers and 1 white flower. So the ratio will be 3 to 1. 3 to 1. 3 quarters to 1 quarter. 75% to 25%. Again, what's meant by Mendel's first law or the law of segregation of factors? We will see it again. When two individuals of any pair of hereditary traits, like now the color of flower, one of them purple, the other is white. What will happen? When two individuals of any pair of hereditary traits are different from each other, only the dominant traits appear in the first generation. Here, the dominant trait is the purple color. Okay? Only will appear in the first generation, while the two traits which are white and purple, while the two traits appear in the second generation in ratio what? 3 dominant, 1 recessive. Here, dominant trait is purple color. Recessive trait is white color of flower. 3 to 1. 3 dominant to 1 recessive. Okay? Let's try to solve some problem on the Mendel's first law. Pay attention with me, please. How we can solve problem on first law of Mendel? Using samples to represent the results of the experiment. We must know that dominant trait must be capital letter. If I want to represent the dominant trait, I must write it in capital letter. Okay? Dominant trait may appear if the gene pure or hybrid. Maybe dominant trait appears if the gene is pure or the gene is hybrid. We said before, pure means the two genes similar. Hybrid, the two genes are different. Okay? Maybe dominant trait appears if the gene is pure or hybrid. Okay? Number 2, recessive trait always take a small letter. Okay? And we must know that recessive trait, as we will see, represented with a small letter and always pure. Always pure. What's meant by pure? The two letters are similar. The two letters are similar.